Safety stock. It's a certain type of inventory to protect your operations from uncertainty, because you never know what's going to happen. Next, safety stock, also sometimes called by some people buffer stock. Safety stock is the quantity of inventory that is held to prevent us from having a stockout due to variation and uncertainty in the demand rate and the replenishment lead time, the time it takes for us to receive a replenishment order after we make it. This is simply uncertainty and variation in the inventory's supply and demand. We can have safety stock for all kinds of inventory, for example raw materials, work in progress and finished goods inventory, but typically it refers to raw materials, so we always have what we need to process, or it refers to finished goods, so we always have stuff in stock to sell to customers. The blue line here shows us the change of our inventory on hand over time. So we use up our inventory over time, then we get a resupply, and we place our new order when we reach our reorder point level. Now the demand rate, the gradient, and the replenishment lead time, this shown here, varies time to time, which is why sometimes we will get our resupply before we touch our safety stock, sometimes well before, and sometimes when we have an above average demand rate or a slower replenishment time, we might eat quite a long way into our safety stock. Of course, if there was no variation in the demand rate or the lead time, there would be no uncertainty and we would need no safety stock, and we would be able to plan our reorders so we just hit zero, knowing exactly that our reorder would arrive bang on time every time. If only. In reality, our demand rate, the gradient, is always changing. We have days where we sell more or use more, and also the lead time, the replenishment lead time can be normal, longer, shorter, meaning that our lead time demand, the amount of inventory we use whilst we're waiting for our reorder to arrive, varies time by time, and we need to protect ourselves from when it is extra big. When you look at the inventory you have of some particular item on the shelf or in the warehouse, I doubt that it is marked separately as normal stock and safety stock. It all looks the same, but its purpose is different. When you refuel your car, you don't plan to finish the very last drop as you splutter into the gas station. Having zero safety stock is a plan, or hope, that you run down to zero inventory just as the replenishment arrives. With fuel in your car, that would be incredibly reckless. What if you misjudged your consumption rate because of a little hill coming into town? Or you got an urgent work call and had to detour back to the office instead of going home by your normal route? That uncertainty of demand would put you at a big risk of a stockout, which you don't need me to tell you would be a big hassle. Similarly, if you plan to run your car fuel inventory with zero safety stock and there is some kind of uncertainty and variation of supply, such as your favourite gas station being closed, then you'd also be screwed. How dangerously you like to live when deciding how late to leave it to refill your car is you making an implicit safety stock decision. Someone who rushes back to the gas station to refill when they still have 80% left is just being very cautious and keeping lots of safety stock. They pay for all this protection though by, on average, carrying or holding more inventory, which has a cost of driving a heavier, less fuel-efficient car and the work of all those extra visits, which are a type of inventory ordering cost. So it's not so simple. All in all, when it comes to filling up your car, whichever end of the spectrum you decide to live by, it's not that big of a deal. You probably don't live in the middle of the Sahara Desert, where running out of fuel would mean death, or having excessive safety stock by carrying around an average of an extra $50 of safety stock fuel inventory on hand in your fuel tank all the time isn't going to financially ruin you either. But for many businesses where stockouts could mean huge lost sales... Sorry, this is ridiculous. I need to take this off. I can barely see. Gee, what am I doing? Could mean a huge lost sales and reputational ruin, and holding too much could mean millions of dollars of inventory sat on the shelf incurring costs. It can be a pretty big business decision. My introductory course on inventory management, another on supply chain, another just on how to calculate safety stock, can all be found over on my website, rotenstraining.com. There's a link in the description. Alright, well I'm exhausted. I think I need to go check my chilled beverage inventory. Good stuff. Crack on!